Hi. In today's video, I will speak about a specific structural detail. Let me tell you that structural detailing is very important for a structural engineer. The reasons are, number one, drawing is the only language that you can communicate with the site. It's using the drawing that you convey the design intent and ensure that your design is in fact constructed at the site in the right way that you want. Number two, it's the only way that a client can understand how skillful you are. So your drawings talks a lot about yourself to the client. He doesn't know your ETABS analysis knowledge or any fundamental knowledge or anything until and unless you communicate this with drawings. He will not be able to understand you. And number three, as a structural engineer, you would like to, of course, get less requests for information from the site. So if your drawings are excellent, definitely you can have more peace of mind. You will get less queries from your site. There are many more reasons that your structural detailing should be excellent. Let us now see a specific structural detail which I thought I will share with you. Hi all, this is Premjit here from civilara.com. Today's discussion is about a structural detail requested by one of the YouTube follower. So you can see the question is, how can I provide detailing in the continuous beam of different depth connected to same column? So I thought I will make a detail for this and then explain in this particular video. So here, as I understand, he's asking about a beam which has two depths, that is across two different spans. Probably you have a beam like this, and then what is the detail for that? That is what he is trying to look for. I have already sketched such a detail over here, and if you have a different depth for beams, you can detail it like a normal beam. Only change that you will have to do is in the joint, like what I have shown here. Now, all other details like your second layer reinforcement if any needed, your top reinforcement extra bars if needed, all that will be similar to a normal beam. So if you need a second layer, you give it. If you need a top reinforcement, you give it. All that will be similar to your normal beam detailing. You can give your extra bars 0.25 times L if this is your L, depending upon your point of contraflexion. Generally the rule in SP34 would work. Now only thing that you need to focus is here where I have shown the detail. So when you have a shallower beam, that rebar should extend inside this beam at least by LD. So you can maybe take this distance to be LD, and then you can bend up your bottom reinforcement of the deeper beam. So this is the only adjustment that you might have to do. Now you might have a question if this beam is still continuous. The answer is yes, it is a continuous beam. So when you are modeling in ETABS, you don't have to do any kind of adjustments. If this is like this and if these are two different beams, it will be in a single line. You don't have to release any moments or anything. It's a continuous beam even though the depths are different. But you might have certain situations where your beams are not matching at the top, and if it is something like, say, something like this, then this is a clear difference. These are two different beams and you will have to incorporate this at two different levels in ETABS. Here your top reinforcement or bottom reinforcement, nothing is through. It is a completely separate beam. They are at two different levels. So you will have to probably create a different level or a reference plane in ETABS and then ensure that they aren't continuous. There will be slight difference in the way the beam behave, the structure behaves. What if the difference is not so much? That is, let me just sketch that for your understanding. So something like, say you have your first beam and say your bottom is flushing, say something like this, but then your top reinforcement. This chances are very less that you have such a beam in your structure, but then sometimes you might have where your top cannot be flushing. But generally when you are having two different sizes and when the reason for that different sizes is forces, then generally you will flush your top and the bottom is generally what you vary, because your top slab, the top finish level should be flushing. But then there are certain reasons sometimes that you might have to have your top not flushing and bottom is same. Then in such situations you will have a slight difference in your behavior because top rebars aren't continuous. So it may be better that you take care of this in your analysis. So that's all that I wanted to mention in this particular video. In case if you are keen to learn from Civil Era courses, we do have courses on detailing of structural members where all complicated details including level differences, slopes and various other actual site conditions are replicated. I have dropped the links to these courses in the description of this video. So take a look at the courses and see if it is useful for you. Thank you for watching and have a great learning.